Mediterranean fruit fly. Now when I say fruit flies, what do you think of?
Multiply really fast.
Those little tiny black things that hover over the fruit bowl in the lounge, in the living room?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are called Drosophilons. That's one kind of fruit fly. There are hundreds of kinds of fruit flies. Some of the fruit flies are specific to a certain fruit. For instance, there's a peach fly. There's a guava fly. There's an olive fly. These flies only affect that particular fruit. The Mediterranean fruit fly, which is also known as the med fly, as opposed to these flies that are fruit specific, is not fussy at all. This is what's known as a key pest in agriculture because it affects over 250 different kinds of fruits and vegetables. Now, when I say it affects, what do I mean affects? The damage to the fruit is caused by the female fly. They always blame females for everything, and in this case, unfortunately, it's true. The females lay their eggs inside the fruit, and they pierce the fruit. They have a part of their body called an ovipositor that they pierce the fruit with it and deposit their eggs into the fruit. By piercing the fruit, they make what we call cosmetic damage. Anyone who's seen like a little spot on a fruit and it looks like a little bruise around that? Yeah. A fly has pierced the fruit there and has laid its eggs. So it's a good idea to take a knife and cut that off and don't eat it. There's eggs under there. I would also open the fruit and make sure there's no worms inside the fruit.
The other way to do
because, yes.
is to eat it and to see that there is only half an egg there.
Yes.
So.
The eggs aren't the problem.
That's worse.
The eggs aren't the problem because the eggs are tiny. They're minute. They're usually right under the skin. Like I said, you can just cut it off. It's not a problem. The problem is those eggs turn into larvae, into little worms. And those worms crawl around inside the fruit and cause the fruit to rot. And then the fruit, usually because it's rotten, it falls from the tree. The worms jump out of the fruit and they bury themselves in the ground and they become pupae. Again, they make cocoons, just like butterflies. And out of that will come new adult flies. Now this is a vicious cycle. Like I said, they attack so many different kinds of fruits and vegetables. How do we control the fruit fly? Put them in a bag. No. The traditional way of controlling the med fly is by spraying pesticides. In particular, something called malathion. Malathion is organic phosphate that is highly, highly toxic. The EU banned the use of malathion from last year, 2008. No more malathion in the EU, which means you can't export to the EU with malathion. So we have to... Pardon? The European Union. So we have to find something else. What do we find? We're providing what we call a green solution, which is not something we invented. Actually, the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, invented the system called SIT. SIT stands for Sterile Insect Technique. Basically, we have a factory here for flies. We grow flies, millions of flies. We take the males. The males don't touch the fruits, right? And we sterilize them. And then you mass release these sterile male flies into the environment. They mate with the wild females. The females lay eggs. So we have what's called the cosmetic damage. But those eggs are blank. Nothing comes out of them because they mated with a sterile fly. So there's no worms. There's no interior damage to the fruit. And of course, there's no future generations. So we're saving the farmer a lot of hassles. Also, it's much greener, much healthier, less pesticides, it's healthier for everybody.
But don't by release massive amount of those sterile male into, you're doing it in a controlled environment or you're doing it outside?
Outside.
So you're not gonna.
No. Okay. Let's explain what this means. Like I said, the USDA invented this. It's not something we invented.
We come from America. We do not trust them.
You don't trust your American government?
No, believe me. This is not.
In Florida, where they've been doing it
they have even worse. Okay.
In Florida, they have eradicated the med fly. There is no med fly in California or in Florida. Every time someone finds a med fly, they go bonkers there. They set up alarms. You should see the websites. If you look, you can find all this. They have eradicated the med fly using this system. Now,
wait, so they're eliminating the species?
They have eliminated the species. Now, everyone says, well, you're changing the ecosystem. You're changing things. What if there's an insect facility in Sarasota, and they still disperse every week millions of sterile male flies because they're so paranoid that someone's going to smuggle something across the border that's got a female in it, that they keep dispersing the sterile males. So if there's something that lives off of this fly, lots of sterile males for them to eat. There's no females, so there's no eggs, there's no damage to the fruit.
Yeah, but you change the